I guess I should start by saying that I really don't know what I'm getting myself into. I've worked on some motorcycles before, but mostly just my dirt bikes. Also, I think I'm starting this project because I'm having a hard time finding something to get me motivated to work on. I have plenty of personal projects sitting on the table that really need to get done. Things like that Martian spacesuit project, or some sculptures that I have started, or maybe some model kits, or molding this makeup that I finished sculpting about a month ago. Things like cleaning or organizing, or building some of the displays from projects that we did last year, or really any of the million projects that I should be doing here in the shop. Problem is, right about now, I don't really have any drive to do any of those things. And what better way to get them done than to start another project altogether? It goes without saying that I like motorcycles. I've been riding motorcycles since I was about 14, and racing dirt bikes since maybe around 16. Street bikes are a little bit newer to me, as I've only had a motorcycle license for a few years, but I've always had a love for Ducatis. Back in high school, I even did this watercolor painting of a Ducati that I liked, and it was the inspiration for me for buying this particular model. A few years ago, I bought this one off of a musician here in Los Angeles, and he really didn't take very good care of it, and I didn't put very much into it. I basically just got it running well enough so that when I was up in San Francisco working on Star Wars, I had something other than my van to get around in that area. After I finished that film project, I was back to Los Angeles, and the bike sort of just sat in my garage. Then I moved it here to the shop eventually, where I intended to start working on it when we moved into this newer place. But that also never happened. I just couldn't justify the spare time, and I kept beating myself up over all the other unfinished projects that I have sitting on my table. So here I am now. Screw it. I'll start a new project. I guess I've also been putting this off because I'm not really 100% sure what I'm going to do with this bike. Do I want to just restore it to look like the original stock bike, sort of like the one in my painting? Or do I want to do something funky with it, like cafe it out, or make a bunch of custom parts? I think what I really want to do is just start diving into it and come up with a plan as I go. There's always a mountain of inspirational photos on Instagram and people who restore this sort of Ducati, and there's some parts I see in those bikes that I'm probably going to try and find or replicate or maybe even build my own. This bike has a lot of quirky little problems with it. Nothing major as far as I can tell, but it needs some love. I think the suspension needs to be completely gone through, maybe even buy new suspension. For sure the tires need to be replaced, but the wheels, I don't know. And there's a whole bunch of other parts on this thing that I wouldn't mind trying to take a stab at making on my own. Like maybe build a new guard for this dry clutch. I don't totally love this one that's on here, but maybe I can just have it anodized a different color and be happy with it. Maybe I'll just CNC my own. I don't know. Maybe I'll make some new foot pegs or a different way of mounting this exhaust. Maybe I'll get all new exhaust. Maybe I'll make my own exhaust. I don't know. I also think I want to get a different instrument cluster. Possibly a different lighting setup. For sure, I'm going to need to make a new seat. The foam is rotten. The covering is ripped. And it just kind of sucks. At the end of the day, I think what I'm just going to do is take it all apart. And then piece by piece, figure out what I want to do with it as I put it back together. So now we'll just take this dusty thing outside, give it a wash, and then I can start taking it apart. Now, who knows how long it's going to take me to do this project? Honestly, I'm probably going to be working on it for a few years on and off. And more than likely, I'm just going to spend the next couple of weeks just taking the bike apart, because that's what I feel like doing right now. If any of you watching this have any cool resources or hookups on parts that I could put on this bike, please let me know. This is also inevitably going to become a money pit, which will also limit how fast I can rebuild the bike. Thanks for watching.